right. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Today is our Automotive Engineering Alumni webinar. So thank you so much for joining us. I am Alicia Markey. I'm the recruiter for automotive engineering here. And don't worry, I will introduce our alumni here in one moment. I just wanted to give you a brief overview of what we're going to cover today. So we'll have our alumni overview, and then we'll open it up right after that for any questions that you have for our alum about the program, the university, possibly his favorite courses, whatever you kind of want to know. And then we'll do a high-level auto overview, and then we'll cover our application deadlines because those are fast approaching. And then any questions that come up after this webinar, I will provide my contact information so that you can email me, and then I will try to answer them, or I will reach out to Derin specifically and then ask him to answer it so you're not all like flooding him with your questions. So, all right, Derin, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hey everybody. I'm Derin, and yeah, I'll go on with a quick introduction background on myself. I was born and raised in Istanbul, Turkey. You can see a picture of my hometown there at the top left. A little fun fact: it's the only city in the world that's on two different continents. But right now, I live in San Francisco, California, which also happens to have a famous bridge. So I have a thing for it, I guess. And in terms of my educational background, I came to the States, and specifically Ann Arbor, in 2018 to study mechanical engineering for my undergrad. I later paired that with a minor in multidisciplinary design. And right after my degree, I moved on to the auto program through SUGS for my master's in automotive engineering. And you can see more pictures of me from my graduation and from roughly about the same spot on the field when we rushed it after we beat Ohio State for the first time in forever. So that was a good time, and it's been fortuitous on that front since then. In terms of my experiences, over the last year and a half, I've been working as a craftsmanship engineer at Lucid Motors, and I'll be able to dive a little deeper into that in a moment. But even outside of that, my experiences have always been centered around the automotive industry, and specifically its intersection with clean energy or green technologies. I had a chance to work at Tesla, Remora, which is actually a startup founded by a couple of UM alums focused on building mobile carbon capture devices for semi trucks, and also Renault, which is a French automaker. And I think we can move on. And yeah, sometimes when I say craftsmanship, it can sound a little foreign to a lot of people, but I can assure you that you've been impacted by it in most products you've used, and specifically automotive. And really, what craftsmanship is the perception of quality customers develop largely subconsciously through just experiencing a product or a vehicle in this case through four of their five senses. Sight or vision, traditionally that's the most important one. Every interface you see in a car, all parts interact. Touch, that's all of the haptic feels you have in the car, and how different materials make you feel. There's a reason why if you touch an actual metal coated trim piece in a car, it feels more luxurious than a metal effect painted plastic piece. And that's because when you touch it, your mind expects a cold touch of a metal. And if it doesn't match that, if it's just plastic, you subconsciously render a lower quality for that part. Hearing is a big part of it. That will be all the door closing noises, different clicks in the car that you may hear, as well as how quiet it is. That's all part of the perceived quality. And at a lesser point, smell is also becoming more and more important, and something that companies focus on in the industry. A little fun fact, your sense of smell is also the only one that never sleeps, so you can't get by with that. Um, and more specifically and tangibly, what craftsmanship engineers do is we conduct perceived quality studies, and that's using customer populations to conduct tests on what kind of materials they like, what kind of feelings, haptic feels, or movement forces they like in their cars, just to be able to quantify their preferences and what speaks to them, and how we can communicate what we want to the customer. And we benchmark competition. That's important for a couple of reasons. One, just to understand what the industry is doing overall and to see how other companies are tackling certain problems. But it's also a really fun part of the job because you can walk into a studio one day and there could be a Lamborghini or Aston Martin waiting for you, and you can get to play around with that, and it's always fun. And moving on to the part that applies a little bit to more what I do within craftsmanship, we design all the exterior and interior interfaces in a car. And uh, so a car can have upwards of 500 interfaces between different components. So anytime you see two different components coming together in a car, we are responsible for the design of that interface and also how we execute it throughout the design cycle. And following that, we're also responsible for part maturation, which is how you ensure that the part that you design behaves as you intended to within the car once you apply all the, assembly loads on it, and etc. And on the right side here, you can see a couple examples of bad craftsmanship. These are just images I pulled from online, but it could relate to panel gaps, as you can see on the exterior interface that's between a door and a fender. That involves part tolerances as well as how you assemble them into GD&T of it, or it could be about how a seal interfaces with interior trims. And if it's not done well, these things add up, and overall the customer doesn't think the car is luxurious or premium quality. And the bottom row, you can see pictures of the Gravity, which is Lucid's, brand new three-row SUV that we're actually releasing this year. And that's what I've been spending the last year and a half of my life on. I'm responsible for all the interior and exterior build objectives for Gravity, which is all the gap and flush targets we have in interfaces, and also the part maturation process. So approving and working with the suppliers on every single A surface part, and the A surface is what the customer sees. Um, so yeah, I think that's hopefully a good enough explanation of what I do as well.
Looks
Um,
beautiful.
yeah, well, I agree. So hopefully people think so too.
Thank you so much for that overview of everything of that. I found it very interesting. I never heard of like craftsmanship engineering like that. That's so interesting. So I just now is the time I'm opening it up to all of you. You can feel free to unmute and ask your questions to Darren, or you can put them in the chat and I'll read them aloud. Whatever you're most comfortable with, you can, turn on your camera and ask it. Like whatever you all want to do and most comfortable to ask your questions is completely up to you. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. I can see your questions easier if you put it in the chat. But this is just your time to kind of ask what you'd like to know more about the program, University of Michigan, the football games, it looks like too. So just anything that you want to know about. While we're waiting for some questions to come in, I just wanted to ask one to kind of get it going. Darren, why did you choose this specific degree? I know that in the beginning, too, just to kind of explain this, Darren said that he did the SUGS program. So SUGS,
Yeah.
just to explain what that is, it's only for University of Michigan College of Engineering students. So it's when you're doing your undergrad here as a College of Engineering student, you can go right into a master's program that lets you double count and transfer credits in, so it accelerates your master's program. So that's what SUGS, it's sequential undergraduate graduate studies is what it stands for. That's the acronym. We love our acronyms here. And so that's what he was saying that he did. So that's kind of helpful to accelerate it. But is there any reason specifically why you chose to do SUGS in our automotive program? Because there's a lot of different programs that do SUGS at the College of Engineering, just to give everyone kind of a background.
Yeah, so I around like sophomore, junior year of my college, I knew I wanted to get into the automotive industry, and I really wanted to get some more like specific education in automotive, and because something you hear a lot uh, in the industry here is like people say, oh, like I learned like the real engineering I do like once I got to my job. And I think that's partly because if you do a program like mechanical engineering, you become a generalist in a lot of different fields because you have to cover so much different fields and so many different fields of engineering and so much theory. Um, but I really wanted to get more specific education about what I wanted to do. And I think the master's program, specifically auto here, allowed me to do that. To give a more like, concrete example of that, I wasn't really, for example, interested in internal combustion engine powertrains. I was interested in electric vehicles, so I was able to tailor my degree to focus on EV powertrains, to focus on body structure design, and the product development and design aspect specifically within the automotive industry. So all the theory I learned based off of that, and all of the design cycle techniques and product development techniques I learned specifically automotive engineering, I'm able to use that one to one in what I do today. Um, so I think, and specifically why I chose to do it at Michigan is, like Michigan's, I think academic prowess when it comes to engineering is, I think it's quite clear, and I think that becomes second to none when you talk specifically about automotive. I think it's really important, especially in a graduate degree, of your institution's proximity and also relationship with the industry that you're trying to get into. And both in terms of the professors that we have and the companies that we have supporting our program and are close to our program, it's you can get more integrated into the automotive industry than doing an auto program at the University of Michigan. I feel like,
Yeah, we're pretty close to those companies here.
yeah.
All right. We have a question that came in. So, before coming to the university in fall 2025, are there any courses like designing related that needs to be done, like NX software, etc.? So there are no prerequisite courses for our automotive engineering program. What's required for the program is a engineering or scientific, like mathematical background, is required for the program, and then we like to see you have industry experience for the program as well. That just really helps you have knowledge in the program, but there isn't like a specific software that you have to know before coming into the program. Derin, I don't know if you found like when you joined the program, having a
Mhm.
specific knowledge of a software was helpful though, but
Yeah, I mean, I had previous experience with NX and SolidWorks before starting the master's program, but I mean, a lot of the other software that you learn throughout, there's a lot of systems engineering software or like vehicle dynamic software that you may end up using within the auto program, and it's very easy to learn, and the courses support that really well. So I don't think you need to come in with any prior knowledge.
we have a question. I see a raised hand from Weston. If you want to ask your question, you can unmute and ask.
Yeah, so hi everyone. I just have a question as related to research experience because I'm coming in from a university that's not like a UMich. So I'm just like wondering what level of research experience is necessary in the application.
So the program is not a research-based program. So our degree is an MEng, which means it's a Master's of Engineering degree. So it's different from a Master's of Science degree, where Master's of Science degrees are more academic research focused, and MEng is industry focused and industry ready. So while some students do research in their program, it's not a requirement for the degree program. It's really meant to get you ready to work in the industry and get to that next level in your career. So there isn't a specific requirement for research specifically. I'm actually going to drop in the chat for everyone. I'm putting this in for everybody. This is copy and pasted from our website with the automotive prerequisites. And I just have to, and give me 1 second, everyone. So sorry. Okay, there we go. So hopefully that answers your question. Lamar, I see your hand raised, but we had another one come through the chat. So I'm going to take that one and then we'll go to you. Question here is, what classes would you recommend for the master's program if someone was interested in electric and autonomous vehicles?
Is that for me to answer? I
Yeah,
assume so.
so
Yeah.
if you know any,
So
I don't know the
and
specific
yeah.
courses.
Yes, from from my side, for electric powertrains, if you want to focus on that side, I think having at least a rudimentary understanding of electrical circuits is important. I think the only electrical focused course I taken before was an introductory course in circuitry and electrical engineering. It, that was like it was a requirement for my mechanical engineering degree, so it didn't go anything super crazy into the electrical side of it, but more from a general dynamics point of view, just being having a strong understanding of statics, dynamics, vibrations, and structural strength courses that will give you that strong fundamental understanding will be useful because you can just build off of all of that with specific theory that relates to what you're pursuing within that class.
I put in the chat for everyone too a link to our curriculum and courses list so that you can see some of the courses that are offered that might help you with that. Derin, did you take any specific courses that were related to that, to electric and autonomous vehicles that you can remember when you were at U of M?
Well, not specifically the course name, but yeah, there's a course I took specific there because there's a couple concentrations you can do within the auto program. One of them is the powertrain concentration, and that concentration has a couple of classes specifically about EV powertrains. And I took one of those classes just to get the knowledge on how batteries work and how the battery motor relationship works and how and I also pair that with a body structure design course because in that course you can clearly learn about the differences in how a body gets built for ICE car versus an EV car. The gravitational center of the car changes a lot. What the areas you have to protect within the car in the crash situation changes a lot. So there's definitely courses where it tailors you to learn about what changes in the automotive industry with an increased focus in electric vehicles.
All right, Lamar, go ahead.
Hi, first, I just want to say thank you for coming and talk to us. Just for some background, I'm actually a fourth year in the mechanical engineering program here at Michigan.
Hmm.
So I'm just curious, what tech electives did you take your like junior and senior year that you feel like, and did you feel like those prepares you well for the master's in automotive engineering?
Yeah, let me think. In my, especially on my senior and well, my senior year was only a half semester, really, because I finished like a semester early. But junior senior year, I I also did the multidisciplinary design minor. So there were a few courses for that that relates into systems engineering, and that was really integral part of my the auto classes that I chose to take. So I think that's really useful. And I also, outside of classes, I had some project team experience with the solar car team that related really well because you're designing a car, so that translates pretty well to that process. And especially if you're from within Michigan, I highly suggest looking into the kind of courses because if you're going to do SUGS, for example, to take it back to that, there are courses where your credits can count for your master's degree as well. One thing I hadn't done is I didn't maximize those classes to overtake, like to overlap as much as I could, because I think, and Alicia, please correct me if I'm wrong, but you can take up to like 9 credits overlapping. I think I was able to overlap like I'm sorry, 3 or 6 credits, like or 2 classes. So if you take a look at that list, you can make sure to take those classes as your tag electives, which will allow you to, one, just come in with as much knowledge as you can into your degree, and also just make your degree um, easier as well.
Yep, I think it's up to 9 credits can be double counted. So Lamar, for your case, it's really important to meet with your undergraduate coordinator and then the
Mhm.
graduate coordinator, who is Kathy Bashar for the auto program, to make sure that you're utilizing the course selections, to make sure that you're, double counting the courses and transferring in as much as you can to really get that benefit of, accelerating the master's degree.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no
Of course.
problem. All right, we had some other questions in the chat here. Are there any programming language you need to learn before the program?
Uh, I think just being well versed in MATLAB will literally never hurt you as an engineer because you may be running so many simulations and that kind of content just especially for vehicle dynamics. But even for those courses, you will use like specific software that makes it easy, like Carson, that really makes it easy to adjust parameters. But yeah, I mean, MATLAB, I would say, is very, very important.
Yep. And it's not a requirement, but again, as Derin said, it's helpful to know those things.
Yeah, definitely.
May I know what are the different assessment process, like assignments, tests, and examinations one must go through in the program in a semester?
So one thing that I had really enjoyed in the program is a lot of the classes you take will have like a semester long project. So actually two of my favorite classes that I took were about that. One of them is about designing um, a transportation vehicle, like not a car, but more of a transportation vehicle to be used like within the school campus by students. So you get a team, and and every week you kind of focus on like an aspect of designing that vehicle, and the class time can be a great time to ideate with your professor and work with your teammates. And another class I took was specific about automotive design. So in the beginning of the semester, you build yourself a customer profile, and the entire semester you spend designing the best possible car for that specific customer. This includes like all the features that would go into a car, cost of ownership, its specifications and everything. And a lot of classes are like that. They'll have like a semester long project. And some of them on top of that will have a final and stuff. But I found that the main focus in the majority of the classes I've taken, instead of examinations, were these long-term projects where you can really work closely with your professor to just dig deep into it and get into like the nitty-gritty of the little details.
Next question we have here is the program duration 2 years or 1.5? And does completing the degree earlier affect future job prospects? I can answer this too, Derin. I'll let you help with the other part too.
Mhm.
The program is designed to be completed in about 1 to 2 years. If you're doing the program part-time, the degree can be completed in about 2.5 years, but we allow up to 5 years because we understand that those students that are doing the degree part-time are usually working full-time and need that kind of flexibility. I will say, though, that most students that are working part-time don't need the full 5 years to complete the degree. Is as far as affecting your job prospects, for most of our students, we haven't seen that affecting. Really depends, of course, on what's happening out in the world, in industry. But we do have, of course, the Engineering Career Resource Center that you can take use of for resume reviews, job search. You'll have access to the job board, which has internship, full-time, and co-op opportunities posted literally hourly. I know this. I used to work in that office approving those jobs, so I can tell you it's happening hourly. So you'll be able to utilize that, as well as taking access to the career fairs that happen on campus with bringing in over 300 companies. So there are ways to help you with your job prospects. Darren, I don't know if you want to add to that part of it, since you had such a successful career.
I mean, one example I'll give is I mentioned Remora as a company I worked at. I actually got introduced to that company because one of the founders of the company reached out to a professor of mine within the auto program and asked for, students that would like to intern. So I ended up interning with Remora during my final semester in the program. So I completed in a year and a half. So my last semester was kind of light on course load. So I was able to do a part-time internship during that semester, and I ended up getting a job offer from that company as well. So so that's really helped out. Similar to how Alicia's mentioned, I've had a lot of classmates that were working either for that GM as they were doing their degrees, and it's been helpful to them. And for me as an international student, being in master's and doing a master's program gives you, an extra summer at least to get another internship within the US. And, having a master's degree that you're working on in your resume while applying to these opportunities helps a lot. Like I can really highlight, especially as an international, how much more response I started getting to my applications once, I had that master's degree um, on my resume. Because just to add on top of that, I don't know if anybody here is international, by the way. I can dive deeper into that.
There's
But
there's quite a few in the chats
okay.
asking. Yep, specifically. Yep.
Another aspect of it is when you graduate, you get an OPT, and then you get to do a STEM OPT because you have an engineering degree, and company that makes it easier for companies to hire you because they don't have to sponsor you out the gate, and you are eligible for the H-1B draft. If you have a master's degree, your chances of getting selected from the H-1B lottery increases, and you're also eligible for any additional lottery that may occur that year. And that is also a factor for companies because the last thing a company wants to do is to pay you and train you for 3 years, and at the end of it you don't get H-1B and you go away. But having a master's degree also adds on to the faith they can have that you will be able to get your H-1B. So I think especially for masters as well, sorry, international as well, masters adds a lot of credibility with internet job search.
Thank you. All right. Another question is, which is better, automotive oriented program or automotive engineering or game? So Darren's only gonna be able to touch on automotive engineering because he didn't do our game program. And the second part is, could you please give us an example of how you utilize your theoretical knowledge in the labs and how did it help you?
Uh, when you say labs, what does that refer to? Like labs within the classwork or labs in what I do now?
Ahmed, would you like to unmute and clarify? Oh, he said both.
Okay, so I'll touch the first part. I mean, yeah, I can talk about the auto part, obviously. Um, so yeah, my in my auto degree, I really focused on the product design cycles that specifically and systems engineering that as it relates to automotive, and I mean, that relates almost one to one to what I do today because I had that little Venn diagram in one of my slides. That craftsmanship engineering works in the intersection of design engineering and manufacturing. So there is a big like almost like project management level to it where you're constantly interfacing with so many cross-functional teams, and you have to understand the larger like the business need and the larger vision companies trying to get to with this product and support that. So, and you're working on projects that are 2 or 3 years long from like inception to conception, and just having those organizational skills that come with systems engineering and just understanding how automotive design works, it makes all the difference within the industry. So I can't comment on how game um, uh, differs from that. I would assume it's a little bit more on the manufacturing and supply chain side. Um, but yeah, look, here you learn how a body is designed, and when you know how a body is designed, it can make you that much more valuable to your company when you're working on how to design all the trim pieces that go onto that body, because you understand what's important in the body, what needs to be protected, and that's how you can ensure that your parts are designed to interface better with that same body, for example. And from a lab aspect, I mean, I don't remember. I did a lot of labs in my undergrad. I don't think I've done a lot of lab work in the auto program. But the type of research that we do at my job here is uh, um, similar to forms of like customer research. We hold these studies where we ask people to assess the feel of different, like do blind tests for feeling of different materials or different um, opening forces for door check arms, for example, or stuff like that, and um, understanding how to utilize that data to kind of find ways to objectify subjective preferences in people. That's something I've done in my auto program in those design classes that I talked about, where we designed a vehicle for students to use in U of M, like a conceptual vehicle, we did a lot of interviews with people in the school to understand what they prefer, what they understand, and that aspect of being able to um, convert customer preference into requirement for an engineering project that you have, that applies one-to-one to what you do in industry as well.
Thank you. So just to show you a little bit deeper into auto, since that was brought up, the automotive engineering degree specifically looks at everything to do with the car. So the areas of excellence that we have, and these are just a few of them, are advanced vehicle systems design, automotive structures and vehicle dynamics, electrical systems software, and powertrain. And then the career outlooks below that you can see here, again, these are just some of the career outlooks, because obviously Derin has his own too, but our autonomous vehicle software engineer, brake controls engineer, development engineer, product development engineer, software strategist, senior design engineer, software verification engineer, project engineer, and engineering manager. For GAME, which is global automotive and manufacturing engineering, hence GAME because it's a long one, that takes everything from car to manufacturing to like the leadership of it, hence the global part of it. So it's a much broader sense of it, where auto is the whole car. So those are the kind of like high level differences between auto to game. So just to kind of touch on that part of it, which I know, Derin, you can't touch on that because, like I said, you didn't do both the degrees. So, all right. Another question was about financial aid, which I dropped in the chat for everybody to see the link to our financial aid and scholarships. I will tell everyone, though, financial aid and scholarships are highly competitive and limited for the master's degrees. Another question came in: is there any way of waiving the 18 months of full-time industrial experience? Can I start the master's directly after senior year? Yes, you can, because we've had students do that. Derin's perfect example because of the SUGs. If you feel that you have the necessary experience from internships and other things, you can still apply to the program without that industrial experience. It is a holistic application process, so that means that everything you put in the application is reviewed and considered. So it's looking at everything, not just like one piece, like, oh, 4.0, you're in, oh, this, nope, you're out. Everything is looked at and considered when reviewing that application and making that decision. So you can still apply right from your undergrad to the master's program. All right, another question. So the student, I've been admitted for the fall term. Woo, congratulations. What are the part-time job opportunities available on campus for international students, and how competitive is it to secure assistantships, TARA? Derin, do you want me to answer this one, or do you know?
No, I can answer from my experience. International students are eligible for every on-campus job. I worked in my senior year, and also throughout my master's, I worked in the multidisciplinary design program's office as an office assistant, for example. But you could also work at all the cafes we have, or the restaurants, or stores on campus, as well as the library. I know a lot of students prefer to have either the office job or the library, because honestly, you can also do your homework and study while you're at the jobs. Big plus to get paid for that. And those are really, really helpful, and also give you great network within the college. For a TA or GSI positions, especially, I'll tell something for GSI positions. You can. It's important, especially if you're going to do it within the engineering college of engineering. It's important to have a good relationship with the professor that you're going to ask for. In my experience, sometimes they prefer PhD students because they can be around longer, so they can be, um, GSIs in consecutive, like longer amounts of semesters. But if you do a good job in a professor's course and you have a good relationship with them, you can always get that position, and that helps out tremendously with the financial cost of the semester.
All right, there was a second part to the question too. Are international students allowed to do internships during the semester, or is it possible to take a break between semesters to complete an internship and then resume college afterward?
So you can't take a break. So as an international student, what you have to do is you have to take a you can't be a part-time student. You always have to be a full-time student. But what can happen, and technically, like on paper, if you're a full-time student, like you also have to be at the school at all times. So you can't really like do an internship in California and be a full-time student at the same time. You have to be an in-person student and you have to be a full-time. But what is allowed is what happened to me. I did 3 semesters of auto program. The first 2 semesters, I was a full-time student. I started in a winter semester. So I had the winter semester, I had the summer, so I interned in that summer. I came back in the fall to do my second semester, and my third semester, I had only left a single course I had to take. So because I had the single course, I talked with my advisor and I got permission to do a local internship within Michigan that was part-time. And that's, you're very capped on like 20 hours. So I was in school for all the coursework I had to do, but I could intern part-time because because I didn't have a full course load to take during that semester. That's the only way you get a waiver for that.
We've already answered this question, Chinmay. The question was, had you taken any employment opportunities on campus during your program? And if yes, how's your experience? And what are the different opportunities present there? And I think you had said about that, working in your senior year on campus.
Yeah, I worked at my minor's like office,
Yep, as a
the
student.
department
Yep,
office, and yeah, and that was my experience with
I
campus
think we
employment.
answered. All right, we have another question. I've received an admit for the fall, another one. Woo! Upon accepting, how long is the I-20 form issuing and onboarding process? Derin, I don't know if you'll remember that, so we can also
I,
have
I've
the
done it
I
twice. I
Center.
should remember. Yeah, yeah.
Don't
I've done
worry.
it twice, but I should remember at this point. But I mean, you can explain more. But from my side, I'll say the International Center at Michigan is they're extremely helpful, extremely responsive, and there's just so much bureaucracy that goes on with this. And it can make your head want to explode at times, but the university is very, very helpful and very clear in everything you have to do. And they also are very attentive to make sure you have all your travel signatures during your time here. So I've had like the aspect of the bureaucratic aspect of being an international student in the US can be difficult sometimes, but I've had a great relationship with the International Center here. They're amazing.
Put that in the chat. I direct messaged it to you, but I'm going to put it in for everybody. The link to the International Center website, and on there they have hours that you can like book by appointment or drop-in hours to ask the questions for any like questions about your I-20 or visas or anything like that. So they know this stuff front ways and back ways. So please reach out to them for any of those questions. Another question we had here is, have you had the opportunity to receive a scholarship at Michigan University as an international student?
I haven't, but I I know there's only well with Michigan being a public university for a lot of public funded you know scholarship. I don't think internationals are um, eligible. So I think it might be a few like based on merit while you're here. But yeah, once again, I'm not too sure about the eligibility of internationals for that.
Each scholarship has its own requirements, so it would just depend on the scholarship, like scholarship by scholarship, as to which ones are eligible for international students. All right, I think we covered all the questions in the chat. Are
But
there
once again,
any
and Alicia, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you get a GSI position, you don't have to pay for your semester, right?
GSI or GSRA positions should cover most of that. It just
Mm.
depends on the appointment itself.
Yeah. So keep on a lookout for that, I would say as well.
Another question came in. What were the most important things you learned when you worked at Tesla and Lucid currently?
Oh, I think that's great. So these are both, I mean, similar companies, and the biggest thing is they move so fast, like and when you get time with your organization leader, your directors, um, you always have to have all your bases covered in terms of all the information you have. And what you can't do is, you know, come in front of them with just a problem. Like, even if you're just an intern there and you coming to them with a problem, they expect you to have developed one or multiple solutions, and they're there to give you direction on which one is best and whether you should be keep going on this path or alternate. Because, like I said, they move very fast. They don't have time to play around really, so they put a lot of faith in you. These companies will put a lot of faith in you. They've chosen you, and they will expect that you can deliver like from the first day. The ramp on time is not long, so that's what I would say.
Well, I also wanted to share with everyone the application deadlines because they are coming up. So we are right now accepting apps for the spring summer semester. Spring summer is online courses only. So the deadline there is February 15th. So that's really coming up here. And then March 15th. And then the last deadline is April 15th. The fall, we are still accepting applications for. Now, the fall semester, we are in this last extended consideration deadline here. So, any international students looking to be on campus for the fall semester, March 15th is the last deadline to be on campus as an international student. All other applicants, meaning international students looking to be online or domestic students looking to be online or on campus, the deadline is August 15th. I always recommend apply as soon as you're ready. Don't wait for those deadlines to apply because we need a full application, meaning all materials submitted by that deadline to review it. So as soon as you have everything in, make sure to apply. Oh, we had another question come in. Do you have any advice on how to cover costs in America as an international student?
I mean, yeah, the campus work is, I think, really crucial. I mean, every semester you're here, I would suggest, because like I said, the campus work really is, you get an office position, like it's really not that much, like time and input from you, and it can really help out with the financials. Always, try for GSI or TA positions, but also a lot of internships will be hourly, if you get them, and that means, like, for example, if you get an internship at a company like Tesla, I can tell you right now that you're going to do a lot of overtime, and that's a great opportunity to save money. And so, yeah, just do campus work when you can, and internships are also a great opportunity for you to, you know, uh, increase your savings while you're here.
Good advice. Save, save, save. So to apply to the program, there is an application fee, 75 for domestic students and 90 for international students, a minimum of a 3.0 GPA, a 3.5 average GPA is what we're seeing with our students. Lamar, for SUG students, it's a 3.2. 3 letters of recommendation are required. This can come from faculty, professors, or if you are working, it can come from supervisors and managers. It doesn't have to be from professors or faculty. The GRE is not required. If you are at that minimum 3.0 threshold, we do recommend taking it. Your resume, your curriculum vitae, your academic statement of purpose, and personal statement, these are the 2 written statements. Please keep those to 500 words because it is going to be read. So we ask to be mindful of that for the review committee to keep it to 500 words. Waisim, I saw you unmute. Did you have a question? No? Okay, didn't want to miss you. Your official transcripts, and then for international students, the English proficiency exam as well. And then I wanted to ask another question, if I could, to you. Overall, Derin, would you recommend the program, do you think, to others, or no? Was it a waste? I mean, you've said pretty much, I think that it was not a waste, but
I mean, I'm going to be totally honest. I don't think I can recommend the program anymore. I think the impact it's had on my education and my prospects, my professional prospects have been like very tangible, and real, and what I've learned there, I still use today, and I also had a great time on top of everything. And uh, another advice I'll give is if you get in the program, uh, take please every chance you can have of taking a class from Professor Hyde. He is just, I mean, and you will. Just to give some context, Professor Hyde used to be a chief engineer for the Mustang program, and it's a person that you will hear of like when you're outside of Michigan as well. When you if you work in the industry, you will meet a lot of people that know him, and just to hear from him and learn from him is an amazing privilege. And he's not the only professor of sorts. Like you will meet professors that have written the books, like on the theory that every auto program in America around the world use. Like you will literally, like people say, oh, he's written the book on blah blah. You will literally meet the professors that have written those books. So I think that like that experience is invaluable to learn from those people, hear from those people, to be from relationships with them, and also, like I said, the classmates you have are also all remarkable people. They work in all the companies you would be interested in, and the work that they do is, I mean, uh, tremendous. So it's just, I really believe in like surrounding yourself with the type of people that you aspire to be, and that's what you will find um, in this program for sure.
Yeah, Art Hyde,
And
he's one of
Michigan's
a
awesome.
kind.
Yeah, it truly is.
Michigan is awesome. That is true. That is
Yeah.
true. Oh, we had another question come in. The question is, how is the job market right now? As an international
Mhm.
student, what recommendations would you give for us to be prepared? I have 2.5 years of experience in the ADAS and R&D domain, and the career
Mhm.
pathway in autonomous and connected vehicle design is what I'm looking to focus on.
Yeah, I mean the job market, it fluctuates a lot, not the best, and that's why for me having a master's degree has been really beneficial, because you will see in the automotive industry a lot of positions, even entry level, will start with about 3 to 5 years of experience. I mean, one way to bypass that, or bolster your resume, is to have a master's degree. Uh, like on my experience when I was interviewing with Lucid, I actually ended up getting hired at a level above than what the posting was because of my master's degree. So that helps out as well. I would say ADAS is a great focus point. I know a lot of I know, like, if you look at the job boards for a lot of these companies, plenty of ADAS positions, especially with autonomous technology growing within all these companies. Um, I think that's a great area of focus for you. So I think you're doing well.
Great, great insights. Thank you. All right. Again, I want to share my contact information with everyone. So that if you have any questions that come up after this webinar, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. If you have questions for Derin, reach out to me first, and then I'll pass them up to him because I don't want him to be bombarded. He has work, as we all know, very important stuff. But let me know, and I will try to answer if it's about the university or just applying and things. But if it's specific, let me know, and I will ask him if he would be so kind to answer your email. But that's my contact information. But if we have no other questions, I just want to thank you all so much for being here. And a huge, huge thanks to our alum for being so generous with his time, answering all these questions, and just giving back to our prospective students and to University of Michigan. So thank you all so much. Hopefully we'll see your applications come through. So thank you. And as always, go blue.
Go blue. And thanks everybody. It was a pleasure to be here. Good to meet all of you, and hopefully you will get to explore the auto program more and find out how it can be useful for you. And yeah, if you have any questions for me, please, I would be happy to answer any and all questions you have. So have a good day.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.